What's up, everybody? This video you're watching is the Year in Wrestling 1998 Part 4. Right there, Part 4. I'll be talking about 3 pay-per-view events only on this video because I don't want it to go too long. I'll be talking about WCW Great American Bash 98, WWF King of the Ring 98, and WCW Bash at the Beach 98 pay-per-views. I just thought I'd put a light on because it was really dark in my room because it's raining outside and there's no sun out, it's cloudy and it's really dark. So I needed a light on. I'm going to start and then I'll talk about Goldberg's WCW World Title win against Hollywood Hogan on Nitro from July 98. I think it was July 3rd or 4th. Or I don't know when it was. I think it was early July that Goldberg won the World Title on Nitro. And I'll talk about Booker T's rise to the top as a single star in WCW. But I'm going to start talking about Great American Bash 98 pay-per-view now. Took place from Baltimore, Maryland, as a lot of Great American Bash pay-per-views did. Seems like every single year they were in Baltimore. Up first, continuing, I think this was match number 7 of the Best of 7 series. Chris Benoit took on Booker T again. The TV title was on the line. And this was the final match of the series. The winner, I believe, got the TV title and won the series. Booker T defeats Chris Benoit. It was a great match. I think they went maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It was a really good match. And I was really happy to see Booker T win because I was a Booker T fan. Big time Booker T fan in 98. Chris Canyon, I guess he's just known as Canyon, defeated Perry Saturn. Chris Jericho defeated Dean Malenko by disqualification to win the vacated Cruiserweight title. So Jericho becomes a Cruiserweight champion again in his WCW career. The team up, not the team, just Juventud Guerrero defeated Reese, the giant monster. I believe he's in Raven's flock. Chavo Guerrero Jr. pinned Eddie Guerrero, his uncle. And their feud would continue into the next pay-per-view, Bash at the Beach. Booker T defeated, I guess later, the winner of Chris Benoit. Booker T got a TV title shot. I was wrong. Booker T did not win the TV title when he beat Chris Benoit. Booker T challenged Fit Finlay for the TV title later at the Great American Bash and defeated Fit Finlay to win the TV title. U.S. champion Goldberg. He was not the WCW World Champion yet. He was just U.S. champ after just beating Raven for it. Goldberg defeated Conan of the NWO, and it was an absolute destruction. Goldberg absolutely destroyed Conan, and he should have. That was his gimmick. That was his character. He got in the ring. He basically destroyed guys under 5 minutes, and it worked for WCW, and it worked for Goldberg. The guy was not a great worker, so having Goldberg destroy people made a lot of sense, I thought. Up next was Bret Hart, the team of Bret Hart and Hollywood Hogan. First time ever, I think they teamed up and they were in the NWO together. It was a stupid idea, in my opinion, by WCW to put Bret Hart in the NWO. It never worked and it was stupid. And at the end of 1999, going into 2000, they tried to bring the NWO back with Bret Hart as world champion and Jeff Jarrett and I don't know who else. But it didn't work then. Just Bret Hart in the NWO never fit. Whenever it did not fit. So Bret Hart and Hollywood Hogan defeat the team of Roddy Piper and Macho Man Randy Savage. And then, after that, Roddy Piper defeated Randy Savage. Bret Hart. I don't even know. Roddy Piper defeated Macho Man by submission after their tag match. I don't understand why they had to fight each other when they were just tag partners. But it must have been part of a storyline or something. Or a stipulation. I don't know. In the final match, I guess it was the main event, but there was no world title on the line. Sting defeated his partner. I think they had the tag titles together. The Giant. Sting defeats the Giant. Pretty good match. Sting brought the best out of the Giant, and the Giant was really overweight. Did not look good here. He looked like he didn't care. He looked like he didn't want to be in WCW. He looked like he didn't even want to be there and work a match. Came down to the ring with a cigarette in his mouth, smoking for some reason. I didn't get that. The Giant would come out with cigarettes, holding it and smoking it. I didn't understand that, and I didn't get it, and it was stupid. But I guess he was smoking because he didn't care anymore. Well, he really didn't care, because when his contract ran out at the end of '98, he left to go to the WWF, and it was the right decision for him. Because WCW, I'm sure Big Show saw on the wall that WCW was dying, so he got out before they died. Smart move by him. So that was Great American Bash '98. I thought it was a good pay-per-view, but it could have been better. Now I'm going to talk about the King of the Ring '98 pay-per-view. King of the Ring took place from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on June 28th, '98. Up first was a 6-man tag. The team of the Headbangers and Taka Michinoku defeated the team of Kaientai. King of the Ring semifinals match. Ken Shamrock defeated Jeff Jarrett by submission. So Ken Shamrock goes to the finals. Rocky the Rock then defeated Dan Severn to go to the finals of the King of the Ring after D'Lo Brown interfered. He was part of the Nation, so he was helping the Rock. Up next was a handicap tag match. Al Snow took on two, I think they were called Too Much. They weren't too cool yet. It was just Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. I think they're called Too Much was the team name. Anyways, Al Snow lost when Al Snow in the head, when Brian Christopher pinned the head of Al Snow's and won the match. I think he stuck a bottle of Head and Shoulders shampoo. He stuck under the head. So basically, if you think about that, the head didn't have any neck or shoulders. So he puts a bottle of Head and Shoulders under his head and sticks it in his in the mannequin head. So a bottle of Head and Shoulders is connected to the head. So 1, 2, 3, the head lost because he had head. He had shoulders now because the stupid bottle of shampoo was stuck in him. That was pretty funny. I thought it was funny, but whatever. Al Snow loses, and Jerry Lawler was the guest referee and basically screwed Al Snow. He did not like Al Snow. He didn't even want him in the WWF. And then Lawler and Al Snow would feud a little bit into August. And then September, Al Snow defeated Sergeant Slaughter which was part of Vince McMahon's corporation. So he defeats Sergeant Slaughter on Raw in a boot camp match. I believe Al Snow defeated Sergeant Slaughter to win a WWF contract, so then he was added to the roster. Up next was... where the hell was I? X-Pac. Up next, defeated Owen Hart. When Mark Henry and Vader both interfered, Mark Henry came out as part of the Nation. And then Vader runs down to the ring, takes out Mark Henry. They both fall on their ass to the ground. And I believe this was X-Pac's first pay-per-view match back in the WWF since he left. And China also interfered in the X-Pac Owen Hart match. World Tag Team Champions chip on the line. The New Age Outlaws defeated the New Midnight Express, Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. After that, the King of the Ring finals took place. Ken Shamrock defeated The Rock by submission to win the 1998 King of the Ring tournament. So congratulations to Ken Shamrock. After he won it, he got a pretty big push. And he got an Intercontinental title run in October 98, and he held the title until February 99 when he lost to Val Venus at St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view. So Ken Shamrock had a pretty good run as the Intercontinental Champion. Should have been longer, I thought. Up next, after Ken Shamrock wins the King of the Ring, we have the Hell in a Cell match, The Undertaker against Mankind. And everybody knows what happened in this one. It was brutal, crazy, and just insane and hard to watch. It's still hard to watch. You have Mick Foley, they start off the match, they climb up the cell. Start the match on top of the cell. Both guys are walking on the cell together, and the top of the cage starts breaking, starts giving out. The screws start giving out, and the cage one part of the cage almost collapses for Taker and Mankind, because both the guys up there are probably over 500 pounds of weight on this cell roof. So they get to the end, close to the edge of the cell, above the announcers' tables, above the Spanish announce table. And I believe the Spanish announce table was the one Mick Foley went through. Anyways, Taker hits him with a couple right hands and then grabs Mankind. And I don't think the crowd thought Taker's going to throw him off. I didn't think Taker's going to throw him off, but he grabs Mankind and basically throws him off. And Mankind falls, very violently, and just it looked like he was going 100 miles per hour off the cell through that table. It was brutal, it was violent, it was unnecessary for Mick Foley to take that bump. But he wanted to do it, so he did it. And it was the Attitude Era. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff that got out of control in a couple matches. And this Hell in a Cell at King of the Ring 98 was one of the things that went too far. It went too far. Mick Foley could have died. Getting thrown off that cell, he could have died, but he is a trained professional, so I'm sure he knew he was going to land on his back through the Spanish announce table. But still, going off the cage, getting thrown off or falling off, whatever it was, he was still probably going 100 miles per hour, and then he smashed through that table, and he dislocated his shoulder. So Mick Foley's shoulder was really messed up, or Mankind's. He was playing Mankind in the match, but whatever, I'll call Mick Foley also. His shoulder is really hurt. He was not getting up from the table after he went through it. He was not getting up. He was holding his shoulder, and then they brought a stretcher out. Vince McMahon came out, he looked really concerned for real. I don't think he was playing his character. He just looked concerned for Mick Foley and if he's okay. And then you have a WWF doctor come out, check on Mick Foley. You have Terry Funk, a great friend and mentor to Mick Foley, come out. And then they start taking Mankind to the back on the stretcher. They start taking him out of the match. Basically, probably were going to take him to get x-rays or to a hospital. But, and the Hell in the Cell match was basically over right then and there because Mick Foley almost died. And it should have ended right then and there. But because it didn't end right after the table spot, it just made the match more legendary. So, Mankind gets off the stretcher and fights off referees and officials trying to hold him back. And Taker is still up on the roof of the cell. And when they raise the cell up to get Mankind on the stretcher and get him out of there. So Taker is still stuck on top of the cell. He's still up there. They put the cell back down. Mankind starts climbing the cell again. I don't even know how he climbed the cell with a dislocated shoulder. Mick Foley, he was either superhuman or he was just, the toughest man on earth. Anyways, he climbs the cell with a dislocated, fucked up shoulder. And I'm sure other parts of his body were hurting. So he gets on top of the cell again. Taker hits him with a couple right hands, choke slams him on the roof of the cell. The roof gives out. He goes through the cage and crashes to the hard-ass wrestling mat. Those mats are not that soft. They really have no give. They have a little bit of padding, but mostly it's wood and then a little foam padding like this thick, maybe a foam padding and wood and whatever. So the rings really have no give and they pretty much hurt like hell if you would take a backdrop on one. Anyways, what the hell? He crashes to the mat, and that was shocking and that was unnecessary. But I don't really think Mick Foley or Undertaker knew when he chokeslammed him. I don't think they thought that the cage would give out, but it did, and Foley crashed to the mat. He could have broke his back on that spot, and the chair came down with him. At the same time, there's a chair flying down with Mick Foley, and the chair hits him in the face and knocks his goddamn tooth out. So then he's injured even more. So he's got an injured back, injured dislocated shoulder, and now he's got a tooth missing that went basically through his mouth, and the tooth is sticking out of his nose. And then Mick Foley is sitting in the corner, and the match continues. I don't know how they let the match continue, but the referee, and they let the match continue because it was the Attitude Era. That's what I'm pretty much sure that's why the Hell in the Cell match continued, because it was the Attitude Era, and things did go too far, and the match should have been stopped, but it was not because it was the Attitude Era. So, Foley sitting in the corner. I believe he had his tooth sticking out of his nose, and then he was smiling. Well, he's discussed, and he has said that he was not smiling. He wasn't smiling, but it looked like he was smiling. Anyways, and then Mick Foley's lip is all busted. He probably bit his lip on the way down. He's bleeding in his mouth. His tooth is knocked out. His shoulder's injured. I'm sure his back is injured. It was just brutal, and oh my God, it was hard to watch. But I did enjoy the Hell in the Cell match between Taker and Mick Foley. It was one of the most insane, craziest matches I've ever seen in my life, and I've watched wrestling since the late 80s. I've never seen another match as brutal as the Hell in the Cell at the King of the Ring 98, and there will never be another match that goes that far again. I don't think any company, or WWE definitely, will never let another guy they'll never let another match get that out of control, because it did get out of control. They'll never let another guy get thrown off the top of the Hell in a Cell through a table. I doubt it. And I mean, the spots that Mick Foley took were absolutely insane. And as I said, he has to be the toughest man on earth, or he was superhuman. And he just wanted to continue the match, I guess. He wanted to continue the match to give the fans their money's worth. So he put his body through extreme punishment just to entertain us fans. So for that, Mick Foley, thank you for everything you've done and everything you've put your body through to entertain us wrestling fans. I respect the hell out of you, probably more than any wrestler that I've ever watched in the history of pro wrestling. I respect Mick Foley the most out of anybody, because what he did to himself. Anyways, that was the Hell in a Cell match. Mick Foley gets out a giant bag of thumbtacks, pours it in the ring. It's like 10,000 thumbtacks. And then Undertaker, I believe, Mick Foley's on his back, and then Undertaker just, I think, fell back and put Mick Foley on top of the thousands of thumbtacks. So then he goes through thumbtacks, and they're all sticking in his ass and his back and his legs. It was insane. And then Taker tombstones Mankind on the thumbtacks. 1, 2, 3, Undertaker wins. And that match was, I mean, just watch it back. That Hell in a Cell match at King of the Ring 98 was exhausting to watch and just insane. You can't believe what you're witnessing when you watch it. You can't believe that they both finished the match, but you really can't believe that Mick Foley actually was able to finish the match. It was insane. Definitely, that Hell in a Cell King of the Ring 98 was a definite highlight of 1998. As probably one of the most exciting and insane, crazy, insane, out of control moments in the history of WWF and wrestling. I mean, you had everybody talking about what happened in the Hell in a Cell 98. Everybody was talking about it. When I went to middle school the next day, everybody was talking about that match and what Mankind went through. And then you had other wrestlers in ECW were talking about that match, and wrestlers from WCW. They were all talking about that Hell in a Cell 98 match at the King of the Ring 98, because it was that insane, and I'm sure the boys in the back couldn't believe it, that it really happened. So, after the Hell in a Cell, you had Kane challenging Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship. And Kane said before the match on Raw's, if he did not win the title, he had his little voice box, because he didn't speak in the early days of the Kane character. He did not speak. He had that little voice box. I thought that was cool. Anyways, he goes in with his voice box. If I don't win, I'll set myself on fire. So he says he'll set himself on fire if he doesn't win the championship. So, Kane, it was a first blood match. I believe the first ever first blood match in WWF history. Undertaker gets involved, comes down to the ring with a chair to try to, I believe, take out or hit Kane with it, I think. And then Kane moves or something. And then Mankind even comes out, I think, with another chair, and Mick Foley gets involved again after the punishment he took. He comes out and gets involved when Taker gets involved. Taker hits, and I believe Mick Foley ducks, or he was trying to hit Mankind or trying to hit Kane, and they duck, and Stone Cold has a chair. Also, he's holding a chair up, and then Taker's chair hits Austin's chair, and it hits him in the head and busts Stone Cold open. He bleeds a lot. and the referee sees it, and Stone Cold loses a match and loses the WWF Championship to Kane. And I don't know how Kane was supposed to lose the match and bleed because he had a giant mask on his face. So how the hell could the referee see if he was busted open? He really couldn't. So that was stupid to put Kane in a first blood match because the guy had a giant mask on, and how the hell could you bust him open when he had a giant mask on? It made no sense. But I guess that's why Stone Cold lost, because they weren't going to have Kane bleed. And Kane wins the championship. That was pretty shocking. I was really surprised that Kane won the title, and I was kind of happy for him because he had those god-awful gimmicks, the dentist gimmick and the fake Diesel gimmick. So I was happy for Kane and this character. I was happy for him that he won the WWF Championship. But rewind, or fast forward to the next night, 24 hours later on Monday Night Raw, Kane is in the ring with Vince McMahon and Paul Bearer, and they present him with the WWF Championship in a glass case. Stone Cold comes out and basically wants his rematch for the title on Raw. He gets his rematch. Kane accepts the challenge and gives Austin a title shot. So Stone Cold then and Kane are the main event. 24 hours after the King of the Ring 98, Stone Cold and Kane are the main event. WWF Championship is on the line. Stone Cold wins the title. Stunners Kane. The crowd loved it. They popped really loud when Stone Cold won the title back. And then Taker comes down, and Taker and Stone Cold were kind of tag partners. They would be tag partners at the next pay-per-view, Fully Loaded. And I believe they were going for the tag titles at Fully Loaded against Kane and Mankind. Taker comes in the ring, I guess, to attack Stone Cold. And then Stone Cold stunners Taker. And then Raw ends, and it was a hell of a Raw. Great Raw from 98, where Stone Cold won the title back from Kane. So that was King of the Ring 98. I went on a little bit long, but I did talk about the Hell in a Cell match and what my thoughts on it. Now I'm going to talk about WCW Bash at the Beach 98. Bash at the Beach 98 took place from San Diego, California on July 12th, 98. Raven defeated Perry Saturn to kick off the pay-per-view. Juventud Guerrero defeated Billy Kidman. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Cruiserweight Champion Chris Jericho to win the Cruiserweight title. Stevie Ray defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. I think Stevie Ray was in the NWO by now, or maybe he wasn't yet, but he would be. Eddie Guerrero defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. in a hair versus hair match, and Chavo, I believe, shaved his own head, and he looked like he enjoyed it. He looked like he was nuts, but whatever. Kevin Nash and Conan defeated the team of the Disco Inferno and Alex Wright. TV champion Booker T defeated Bret the Hitman Hart by disqualification. That match was good, but it could have been way better. Both Bret and Booker T were awesome workers. The Giant defeated Kevin Green. And I don't know why Kevin Green was back and why he was working another WCW pay-per-view. He was a Carolina Panther, whatever. What the hell? Never mind. I was reading something else. World champion Bill Goldberg defeated Kurt Hennig to retain the WCW World title. Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman, again for the second year in a row, would team up at Bash at the Beach. They defeated the team of Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone, famous Utah Jazz basketball player. And that was the main event. And Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman would win the match after the Disciple would interfere. So that was Bash at the Beach, 98. Pretty good pay-per-view. Could have been better. And the Disciple was obviously Brutus Beefcake. He was Hogan's friend. That's why he was there in WCW. That's why he had a job for such a long time, because he was Hogan's boy. So, Brutus Beefcake, he had some shit, god-awful, stupid-ass motherfucking gimmicks in his career. First off, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. That wasn't a great gimmick. That was cheesy and just stupid, and he wasn't even a great worker. So that's probably why the guy never got an Intercontinental title run when he was supposed to, because he got injured or something, or he was just not liked backstage. That's why he never got his Intercontinental title run that he was supposed to get, but they gave it to the Ultimate Warrior, because the Warrior was actually over and Brutus Beefcake was not. The Warrior was over, and he worked damn hard. He worked super hard with his character to get it over. And the Warrior actually deserved it, because the guy worked hard and had a ton of energy. And that's why Brutus Beefcake never really deserved any titles, except for he had a tag title run when he was in the Dream Team with Greg Valentine. Then he goes to WCW, and they put him as a Zodiac. This god-awful gimmick. He was part of the Dungeon of Doom. It was god-awful. And then he becomes, I believe, the man with no name, or something like that. Before the Zodiac, he was the Butcher. Nobody gave a fuck. And then he was a Zodiac. Nobody gave a F. And then I believe they're calling him the man with no name, because he's kicked out the Dungeon of Doom. So he had no name. Nobody still gave a fuck about him. And then he became the Booty Man. Another god-awful shit gimmick. And then he became the Disciple. Another stupid gimmick. He just looked like a Hulk Hogan clone. He would always stand by Hollywood Hogan on Nitros, and he had a giant beard and long hair. You didn't even really know it was Brutus Beefcake, but it was him. The Disciple was just a Hollywood Hogan ripoff, and he shouldn't even have been on television. Look, I don't hate Brutus Beefcake personally. I don't know the guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But, I mean, wrestling fans just did not care for the guy, I don't think. And the guy was just no good in the ring. He never was very good, ever. And why do you think WWE has yet to put him in the Hall of Fame? They haven't. Probably because he sucked. And he's probably not liked in the WWE by somebody, probably by Vince or somebody in power. Now I'm going to talk about Goldberg's world title win on WCW Nitro that happened before Bash at the Beach 98. I believe is early July that Goldberg won the title from Hollywood Hogan. And Hollywood Hogan did the right thing and put over Goldberg on Nitro. And before he faced Hollywood Hogan, Goldberg, I believe, had to defeat Scott Hall in like hour 1 of a 3-hour Nitro. I believe he defeated him in hour 1 or 2 to get the title shot. And then when Goldberg won the title, the crowd in Atlanta, Georgia, I believe is in the Georgia Dome, and it was like close to 40,000 people or over 40,000. They loved it. They marked out. They popped. When Goldberg won the title, the crowd exploded, and it was great to watch. It was great to hear the reaction that Goldberg got from the crowd. WCW finally looked like they weren't the minor leagues. They actually looked like they were competing with WWF, having that giant crowd there for a Monday Nitro. The only problem is the Hogan and Goldberg world title match on Nitro should have been saved and put on a pay-per-view event. I mean, they probably would have made a ton of money. A lot of people would have ordered a pay-per-view to see Goldberg challenge Hollywood Hogan for the world title. The buy rates probably would have been through the roof. But WCW, the people in control, or I don't know who was running things, if Bischoff was in control of booking Nitro, or if Hogan was in control of booking the main event and he booked himself and Goldberg to put over Goldberg. I don't know if Hogan was involved. I think he was. But the bad decision about Goldberg winning the title on a Nitro is they should have done it on a pay-per-view event. That would have been way better for business. Anyways, it happened. Goldberg won the title. It was an exciting, great moment in WCW. It was a great moment. And I wasn't a big Goldberg fan, but I respect the guy, and I respect what he did in WCW and how he got over. I respect that, because he got himself over. But I was always more of a Stone Cold fan, and I really wasn't a Goldberg fan, but it was exciting to see him defeat Hollywood Hogan for the world title. I will say that it was really exciting. Now I'm going to talk about the rise of Booker T. This guy was in Harlem Heat and in WCW since 1993. And he didn't become a singles wrestler until, I think, early 98, when he was the TV champion and going after the TV title. And Booker T actually made the WCW TV title relevant. He actually made it better. He elevated the TV title by just having it. Booker T, great singles wrestler. He was damn good. Way better than I thought he would be. Because when he broke away from Harlem Heat, I just wasn't sure. I mean, in the Harlem Heat, Booker T was great. He was a hell of a talent. He was super athletic, and he was a pretty good wrestler and a good worker. He could pull off a lot of exciting moves. He did that spin-a-rooney when he was in Harlem Heat to get up on his feet. He did the side kick where he got up really high and would do a side kick and kick people in the face. And what else did he do? He did that Harlem hangover off the top rope. He did a front flip into a leg drop. That was called the Harlem hangover, I believe. In Booker T, you could tell in Harlem Heat that the guy had a lot of talent. But as a singles wrestler, he was so good, and he was really good. And I really enjoyed watching Booker T as a singles wrestler. As I said, I was a Booker T fan. I was a big fan of his. I thought he was awesome as a singles wrestler, and I really became a fan of his in '98. And I was hoping that he would get a world title run in WCW. And that didn't happen until 2000, but I'm glad he got a world title run and win, because he was a WCW guy for years and years and years. He busted his ass. He deserved to be world champion in WCW, and he finally got it. So, those were my thoughts on Goldberg's title win and Booker T's rise as a singles star. Goldberg I didn't like so much, but I didn't hate him at all. I didn't dislike Goldberg. I'm just saying I wasn't a fan of his. And Booker T, I was a big fan of his. I wanted him to be world champ in '98, but that didn't happen in '98. And before my next video, I could show this, some memorabilia I have when I talk about in September '98 on a Nitro, the Ultimate Warrior debuted in WCW on Nitro, and cut a promo that went on way too long, promo towards Hollywood Hogan. I think Warrior kept talking and talking and talking. They were trying to wrap it up, and he just kept talking and wouldn't stop. Anyways, this is a WWF Ultimate Warrior shirt, and they couldn't call him Ultimate Warrior in WCW. He was just known as The Warrior. But this shirt I got when I was 5 years old. It's from, I believe it's made in 1989, and I got it in 1989 at a WWF house show. You can see this WWF symbol on it, or the logo. There it is, the WWF logo on it. And this shirt is tiny because I had it and it fit me when I was 5 years old. There it is, Ultimate Warrior shirt. I should have showed this when I did a video on 1989, but I forgot that I had it to show it. So he returned to WCW and he returned to wrestling in 1998. So what the hell, I'll just share it and show it to you all now. There it is, Ultimate Warrior shirt, and I'm going to keep it probably forever because the guy passed away. So I'll keep it as I guess as a memory of Warrior. So there it is, my Ultimate Warrior shirt from when I was 5 years old. I got it. That shows you right there, that shirt and the size of it, that shows you right there how long I've been a wrestling fan. Anyways, this ends my year in wrestling 1998 part 4 video. Right there, you know what that symbol means. Not 4 horsemen, but 4 horsemen aren't around anymore, so that is 4 horsewomen. That's what that means right there. And the 4 horsewomen in WWE, all 4 of them are great workers. I'm talking about Bayley, Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte. They are all great workers, and they deserve to do this because they're that good. Anyways, this ends my year in wrestling 1998 part 4 video. I already said that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did not, don't watch it. If you think I suck in the beginning, turn the goddamn video off. Anyways, follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy and at NXT WWE Guy. I'll be back with another video on 1998 part 5, and I'll put it up on Monday. I'm not going to do a video on Sunday because I don't feel like it. So, I'll be back with a new video on Monday. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye for now, everybody. Have a good weekend.